Good morning and welcome to the Media Speaks live Saturday morning news show. I'm DLAKE for PREZ, David Lake, reporting for TheMediaSpeaks.com. By Kyle Phillips. Kyle, how's it going?
Wonderful, DLAKE. Thanks for having me on.
I'm also joined by Sam, IB DiGangi of The Correct Views, and the band passing time, Samuel.
Greetings, unsettled souls, and welcome to the Saturday edition.
That's right. Welcome to this Saturday edition, everyone. We're going to just jump straight into the news. What's the biggest headline news going on in the media right now? Ebola. It's Ebola. Say Ebola one more time, motherfucker! You can't do a Samuel L. Jackson impression without saying mother effer. All right, gentlemen, I wanted to play a couple videos because I was searching online for any kind of Ebola news coming out of Africa, since that's where this stuff is basically coming from. Let me start with the CNN clip first. Here we go. Inside Liberia's Ebola crisis, and if you guys can see my screen share, okay, this guy is in his costume and he's spraying behind the guys walking. This is somehow we have video footage of a ambulance that says USA on it. There's a guy, he's half naked, so we're blurring his lower half. He's in the back of this ambulance van, supposedly at a Liberian hospital. And apparently this gentleman supposedly has Ebola. Okay, there's no diarrhea. Okay, these guys are really sick. They got to take their pants off. There's no blood or diarrhea sprays. The gentleman starts looking up right here. Eyes don't really look particularly red. No big giant swollen Ebola type things. Does not look like a zombie. Okay. No diarrhea, blood, or diarrhea sprays on the side paneling of this van. He's going to slip out of the van. In other words, he's just going to fall out of it. Oh, because he's so sick. Okay, now pay attention to this little kid. You see him walking up here, guys? Are you guys seeing this on my screen share?
Yeah.
Inside Liberia's Ebola crisis, little kid walking up. He's walking, looks pretty healthy for a little African kid. He's walking, he looks, oh, is it time? Hit the ground, go for it. Okay, assume the position of dead, dying boy in Africa. You're dying of Ebola. There you are, you're dying, you're sick, you're dying. Okay, great. Great footage. Let's see what the New York Times is putting out. This video getting a lot of views and traffic. A lot of people are remixing it into their videos about how bad it is. We're at the hospital, the JFK hospital there in Africa. This gentleman right here, this kid, he's sick and dying of Ebola. Doesn't have the zombie-like blood blisterings. Actually, complexion for a young black African looks pretty good. Maybe he peed his pants, or maybe he just rolled over into water and mud. Doesn't really look like shit or blood. It just looks like a little bit of dirt there. Complexion, pretty good. Here's his family. His dad's giving an interview. The family just sits around the dying of Ebola, supposedly patient there. They give him water. They're right next to him in his bare feet, 3 feet away. You know, I don't really see any vomit, blood, or shit or anything like that. Or, I mean, this guy's complexion looks pretty good. Oh, he's just vomiting. He's going to the toilet. The father gives the interview. Let me just skip forward. Okay, all this stuff you can see online. This is the best part.
Every day they make an announcement when you get a sick patient, report a sick patient. Same with you.
Okay, wait. All the people in Liberia are gathering around, not because it's a news interview. It's because this guy has Ebola, but they just gather around in non-protective clothing. Then they say, hey, we're going to admit you to the hospital. You can come in. Sounds great. Okay, Dad, who just gave the interview, here he is walking away from the interview. Okay, pay attention to his right hand here, Kyle, in his back pocket as he's walking away from an interview that he just gave to the New York Times.
Wait.
What is that, Kyle?
What is that? Is that a handful of cash?
We're waiting. We don't know what to do.
It appears to be a handful of cash.
So they paid lasagna for the interview.
Nothing I don't.
That's legal.
Where's
I
his
mean,
son now? Going into the JFK hospital? We don't know. He looks pretty healthy.
Oh, wait.
Handful of cash.
I mean, that is legal, but I don't know. You could take that two ways. You could take that as like, this dude's kid's dying of Ebola, and he might have been like, fuck you and your interview. And then they're like, we'll give you money, and he's like, all right, you and your interview. Or it could be like, here's a ton of money, pretend your son has Ebola.
Kyle, I need your opinions on this picture right here. This video right here.
That one is the one that got me the most, because that kid looks like he's just walking fine. He's just trudging along. He's kind of got a little bit of a, like he's like a kind of dancey step, you know. It's just kind of like chugging along, and then boom.
Lay down here. Oh, did you see right there? It's right outside the ambulance footage of the other people being sick. So you just walk into the area and immediately fall to the ground, and the doctors are like, oh, yeah, that's what happens.
I'm confused about, like, why are all these people outside?
Well, if you watch the videos, there's just a billion people gathered around. Sam, I want to get to your opinions, but before I do, can I just Sam, I want to hear from you. I'm sorry. Sam, go ahead, please.
I think this is more of an issue of CNN not wanting to be, if it's faked, it's more of an issue of CNN not wanting to be around Ebola people for obvious reasons. I'm not saying I blame them, but it's pretty crappy reporting. I think it's more of them not wanting to be around Ebola patients and then maybe faking who has it. Then, I mean, obviously the Ebola outbreak itself is not fake. We've, on this show, for those people new to the show, we've interviewed people whose family has died of this. Mrs. Sawyer, we interviewed her. Obviously, people are dying of it. But is
so
CNN...
you think it's like the green screen? It's like the equivalent of the green screen not actually going there.
I think they're reporting on real news, but they don't want to be around real people that have it. So I think CNN's faking it. I do not believe that the Ebola outbreak is fake. But I could be led to believe that CNN is not really talking to the real people that have it. For instance, if hypothetically I'm in this hotel room and I know that down the street people have Ebola, well, I can go ahead and drive through it and film it and then show some sick people on the side of the road. Then come back to the hotel and give the homeless guy down the street $50 to say that he is one of those people, and now I can do this report. But that doesn't mean that Ebola itself is fake. That's what I think happened.
Well, good luck driving down the street and finding that footage, Sam. But what I wanted to point out here, since you mentioned our interview with DeConte Sawyer, I put in DeConte Sawyer on YouTube. Okay, she was on The Doctors. She was on The Telegraph. A couple people wrote a couple articles. Oh, TheMediaSpeaks.com, interview highlights with DeConte Sawyer. Hey, there's Kyle right there. TMS interview with DeConte Sawyer. We are on page 1 when you look this up. So, I mean... you know what? She admitted to us that she was having problems in her marriage, and actually her husband, Patrick, who was a finance minister, she didn't get to see his body or anything like that because his flight was halted, or he was taken into quarantine at the time in, I believe, Nigeria, but he was, or Liberia. He was a Nigerian finance minister, or maybe I have that backwards, but... he was traveling. She hadn't seen him in quite some time. Supposedly, he was trying to get back here to America to visit his daughters. Was he trying to get back here in the same method as Ted, as Eric Duncan, Thomas Eric Duncan? Thanks, you guys, for letting me play those suspect videos. Did you guys see the video this week of the one gentleman who was helping board the nurse out of Dallas there, the guy with the clipboard? Did you guys see the clipboard guy?
Oh my God! Yes, it's as bad as the people that cleaned it up with a mop.
I haven't seen this. You got it? You got the video?
Oh, I gotta go find it. You don't know about the clipboard guy?
No. What's the clipboard guy? I haven't seen this.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Sam, fill in for a second.
You're gonna have a heart attack. Basically, what he's about to show you is. Now, the reason they give it is that it's protocol. Well, I could say it's protocol to sit here and drink poison. That doesn't mean that it's good protocol.
Amen, Sam.
They have 3 in full respirator hazmat uniforms, or whatever you want to call it, medical gear. and then they have one guy with a clipboard where he's making sure that everything is going well. And since the mask impedes your left-right vision, it is protocol to have one person not in gear. This bonehead handles the bag that is coming off of the Ebola flight with no protection whatsoever. And again, it's protocol. That doesn't make any sense. It might be my protocol to drive 95 miles an hour down the freeway. That doesn't mean it makes any sense if there's a traffic jam. It's ridiculous.
The
ball on this the entire way through.
He's the coordinator. There's usually in anything with fire departments, with police stations, there's usually one person who's the coordinator. He's the coordinator, but it's protocol for the coordinator not to have anything on, and he goes and touches some shit that might have Ebola in it.
Yeah. Okay. So Kyle, taking a look at my screen right here. I have the sound off, but yeah, there's your coordinator. Apparently, he's news reports are saying that he's helping the hazmat guys, see where they're going with their funky masks. But I got the clipboard. I got the. I don't need that. Okay. Here's the nurse that has it. She actually gets off the gurney and starts walking up the stairs in the yellow hazmat type device suit. You can see her there being helped up the stairs. And there's no hazmat having clipboard guy opening up disposal bags. They're putting her clothing items or something into this bag, putting this bag into this bag. He's helping out. I mean, okay, for people that are just listening on audio, as we replay this in audio, Kyle, maybe you could better describe some of the things that you're seeing here on DLAKE screen. Yeah,
so, I mean, essentially what I just saw was the lady, the nurse who has Ebola, they take her out of the back of an ambulance on a stretcher on a runway at an airport, it looks like. She's in a hazmat suit. The two people having her in hazmat suits, full gear, completely sealed in. She gets onto the plane, but there's one dude there with a clipboard who is not in a suit, and he's like helping them clean up like red bags, which I assume those red bags are hazardous waste material bags. So,
this particular video that I clicked into actually ends before the footage ends, because I saw in other footage that the gentleman with the clipboard here without the hazmat looking protective gear, he actually does board the plane before this runway.
What amazes me the most, DLAKE, what amazes me the most is that America's done a lot of things. We've landed people on the moon. We helped cure polio. We have not yet figured out a way to create clear plastic, anything that you can look to your left and right and see out of while treating a patient. We just aren't that smart.
Well, no, Samuel, also this week there was a scare in my local area, Chula Vista, where a student at the Southwestern College vomited in class, and it was a big Ebola scare, and then supposedly he was on a similar flight with the second nurse. And Sam, I heard your reporting where people that you work with even are fearing that they might have been in contact with someone that might have been on that plane. Kyle, I don't know if you heard about this. This just came out yesterday. Gambler, 60-year-old gambler, arrested on felony charge for Ebola joke inside a Cleveland casino. Ebola joke is landed in Ohio, man, behind bars on a felony charge. Now, is this the same guy that came into your work, Sam? And Sam, can you elaborate on some old man cruising around Ohio saying that he was on a Texas flight with an Ebola patient?
I don't know if he was an old guy. Unfortunately, Serenity's not here. But it happened where she worked as well, and we're pretty sure it was the same person. He was just saying that he had gotten off the flight and he had reasons that if you look at the news reports, they gave two different flights at first. That's why he was confused. And of course, he's just a random customer, so I don't know who he is. But he had said that he was on the flight, he believed, that the nurse was on that came here. And she came in Altman. And again, for those watching live, I'm not in my hometown right now. But in my hometown of Canton, Altman Hospital is one of the two major hospitals that we have there. And I do believe that the nurse is voluntarily on paid leave while they rule out her having Ebola. So again, I've been saying it came through Canton by proxy. Unfortunately, Thank God, I'm not claiming to have met an Ebola patient. I hope I never do. God
Wait,
bless
but
them
this
if they
guy-
have it.
This guy came into your work and was saying this?
Yeah, because it came out after his flight had already landed, but they originally listed 2 different flights, and they, I guess, later fixed it.
If
But
there's
he
the
wasn't sure.
slightest bit of a chance that you might have Ebola, like even the slightest amount of a chance of like, I think I might have been on the same plane with somebody.
I think it broke while he was at our establishment. I think
That's like the worst place to be.
I think that's why. And again, I'm telling everybody, don't. Right now, it's time to prepare, not panic. For those that listen to the views, they already know. I'm at Kings Island. Is that the brightest place to be? Right now, I don't think it's time to worry that much. But I like to get the news out so that people can make their own decisions. Some people would not be here. You know, it's definitely a high-risk place. It's an amusement park. It's part of the Seethe Fair. This thing. There's a lot of people there. But at the same time, I mean, I think if there is going to be a time to quarantine ourselves, I don't think that time is here yet. The last thing I want to point out that I didn't get to on my report, and I hope, Kyle, when you edit this up, you select this segment. Ebola was found in 1979, as we keep hearing regurgitated again and again and again. But if you look up, and I don't know why they must have taken a long time to figure out this name, the Ebola documentary. If you look that up online on YouTube, that is the name. It mentions that there are a lot of top-tier researchers in this that believe that Ebola was the ancient plague that wiped out half of Athens, Greece. So these boneheads that are online saying that the government created it. The governments of the world may have made it worse, but the governments did not create it. They were bleeding out of all the orifices. They had all of the diarrhea and tasty symptoms that we've been reporting on for months now. And chronic hiccuping, which is something that is very indicative of Ebola.
Really? I didn't know.
It was very likely Ebola that wiped out half of ancient Athens. So please stop saying that the disease is government created before I strangle people. As Alex Jones would say.
I gotta stop making Ebola jokes, especially after that old dude was arrested in a casino, because like at my work, like somebody comes in the morning and they're, ha ha ha, Ebola, ha ha, and I'm gonna end up getting arrested.
Yeah, no. Say Ebola. They were
joking about it at the amusement park while we were in line, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, here it's starting already, and I'm 4 hours south.
And like I've said, I'm not worried about Ebola except for the fact that all you have to do to not get AIDS is not fuck or share needles with AIDSies, and we can't even do that. That's what worries me about Ebola. If we can't even manage to not have sex with and share needles with AIDSies, how are we going to manage to get this under control?
Say Ebola one more time! Hey, check this out, you guys. I started the show playing those really weird-looking mainstream media, New York Times and CNN footage, and, you know, the mainstream media covering it. You know, are we stoking the fear? We're demanding a response. You know, there's a bunch of stuff going on in Congress. But here's some breaking news coming out of Africa that I really wanted to get to today. A man in Sheffield, a community located in Margibi County on the Robertsburg Field Highway, has been arrested for attempting to put formaldehyde into a well used by the community. This is in Africa, okay? Here's a map right here, okay? This is in Monrovia. This is like Western Africa. Reports say around 10 a.m. he approached the well with a powder in a bottle. Mobbed by the community, he confessed that he had been paid, kind of like the guy walking away with a handful of cash, Kyle, to put formaldehyde into the well, and that he was not the only one. He reportedly told community dwellers, "We are many. There are agents in Harbel, Dolastown, Cotton Tree, and other communities around the country," he said. There's a typo there.
Why?
State ELBC reports that at least 10 people in the Dolostown community have died after drinking water from poisoned wells. The man also alleged that some of the water companies, particularly those bagging mineral water to sell, are also involved. The poison, he said, produces Ebola-like symptoms and subsequently kills people. Okay? Highlight. The poison, the formaldehyde in the water, he said, produces Ebola-like symptoms. Now, I covered last week, is Ebola in the United States really Ebola, on DLAKE for PREZ special show, Welcome to the War. That's right, where I asked the question, is Ebola in the U.S. really Ebola? Okay, you remember the CIA guy that was on InfoWars, Robert David Steele, who said that he, before Thomas Eric Duncan was in the United States, back in September, he predicted that there might be an Ebola false flag that's meant to look like Ebola, but is a pseudo-bioweapon that isn't exactly Ebola, but they will tell us that it is Ebola. So, Sam, that's not saying that Ebola is not real, but it's saying that a fake Ebola might be being perpetrated on the people right now. And what are your feelings about that, Sam?
That is where I come back home, as it were, with because there's a lot of people I think that are libertarians, and I've mentioned this countless times, I know on the Saturday edition, that have since become science phobes. Like somehow, just because they put bad things in vaccines, which I don't take them, means that all vaccines are bad. No, that's not what that means. It means that they need to use better preservatives and that vaccines are not always bad. It's kind of like that with this. The government would definitely do something like that to make it worse, to be able to implement their problems, to be able to exploit the very real disease of Ebola. Oh, yes, I could see that happening. No doubt in my mind whatsoever. That is where I completely rejoin all the people that are saying that there's something about this that isn't adding up. I could see that deal like 100%.
Ah! DLAKE, wake up.
DLAKE has gone to sleep. No, but I do think that he's probably frozen. I do think though that's the biggest issue that we're seeing are people either running to panic on this or downplaying it to the point where it doesn't even matter.
That's the thing, is like never panic. Panicking never works. Even all right, let's say that there is like an outbreak happening right now, and let's say that it's highly contagious and half of the American people are going to die. Let's say that. I don't believe that. That's not happening. Calm down. But panicking is like it never helps. It never does anything good. You need to stay rational and focused and take care of problems. Freaking out, like, have you ever seen the video where there was a nightclub, and there's a lot of fire safety standards now because of this. A fire broke out on a nightclub, and all the people in the nightclub all rushed for the front entrance because there were other exits that they could have gotten out of, but just, you know, the way your mind works is if you panic, you go for the way that you came in. And all the people, literally like Three Stooges style, like crammed through this door, and pretty much everybody inside died because they all tried to go through the door at the same time. That's what panic does.
It is, and people don't think. The wonderful Christelle and I, and this would have worked, by the way, but the hotel room was full. The wonderful Christelle and I, they didn't. We wanted 2 rooms at this other motel we were staying at, and there's a point to this, listeners. Don't zone out. And they ended up only giving us 1 room, and so there was a sign that said $39.95. So we called the front desk and said that we wanted to add a second night for that price. And they told Christelle that they couldn't do that because that was only good for walk-in guests, and we were already there. So she's mad and frustrated and, you know, mad at the whole world and everybody in it. And I take a bath, and I'm like, Christelle, they didn't see me. I will just go in the front door tomorrow and tell them I walked in. You keep your pretty little ass in the van, and they won't know what we just did. And it would have worked, but they were full the second night, so we had to switch. But my point being that sometimes if you just think, you can get around and survive a lot of things that, I mean, even day-to-day news. I know, obviously, I'm comparing a day-to-day nuisance with Ebola, but I think the point is the same. If you just think for a minute, a lot of times you'll be able to get out of things.
Yeah. Oh, you can always figure out a way. Just sit down, take a minute, think about it, figure it out, and don't take baths. You're just soaking in your own poop water, Sam. Take showers, but that's beside the point.
I live in a bathtub. I swear. I get in there and I sit like a lizard in the sun.
Like a lizard in a tub full of your own bacteria. There's a couple of points that I wanted to make before we close out.
Yeah, but I have that rose-smelling bacteria. That's okay.
There's a couple points that I wanted to just wrap up before we close out this Ebola Wars section, Ebola Zombies. There's really this Ebola crisis and breakout, and really has nothing whatsoever to do with zombies, but that's what's being promoted on a lot of media right now. Zombies are fictional characters, typically depicted as mindless, reanimated human corpses, sometimes animals with a hunger for human flesh, regularly encountered in horror and fantasy-themed works. Okay, the zombie apocalypse concept, in which the civilized world is brought low by a global zombie infestation, has become a staple of modern popular art. Okay, if you have Ebola, you're going to be crippled, disabled, debilitated, easily killed, bending over.
Oh, Betty, that's just awful.
Yeah, and you're not coming back from this dead as a Walking Dead zombie. So all this zombie preparation and Ebola zombie crisis and comparing Ebola to zombies, to me, is a bunch of fucking bullshit.
And you know where this came from, DLAKE? And I read this, and this is even this will make you even more amazed. This is how stupid either our country is or the CDC thinks we are. Mm-hmm. And let me point out, the CDC, you never see the P on there for prevention. They never say the CDCP because they don't prevent anything. Mm-hmm. But the CDC is right about one thing, I'm afraid. The reason they started this whole zombie training was they said that they wanted to take advantage of the zombie popularity, and if people could protect themselves in the event of a zombie apocalypse, then they could probably survive just about anything. To which I offer, are we that stupid that the CDC just couldn't say, hey, maybe you should do this, 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 and this? And sure, go ahead and say, we would, let's face it, DLAKE, if we were president of the CDC, you guys, you want this much food, this much water, this much, prepare like you were watching a zombie movie, for instance. If a fictional character could survive that, pretend you're stocking for that. I've got no problem with that. But to take it to the extent that they have with this, Ebola is the Walking Dead, and you should prepare for the zombie apocalypse. I mean, I'm going to haunted housing as soon as this show is over. Doesn't mean I think it's real. There's no line here. I hear people when I'm in haunted houses saying, these things are dumb, they can't really hurt you. Then why are you even here if you've got no suspension of disbelief? Go leave. Get out of here. You're ruining it. But at the same time, you've got other boneheads that think that zombies are real. It's like, my God, what is wrong with our country?
They're stupid. Simple answer. They're pretty stupid. But if there's any chance, which apparently there isn't, but if there's ever a chance of a zombie outbreak, you know what you need to work on the most? You need to work on yelling names in a southern accent, apparently. Merle, I need you over there. Shane, come here and do this. That's what you need to know how to do the best.
Is that a Walking Dead impression, Kyle?
Yeah.
Can we hear a little bit more of that for our Walking Dead fans?
Here, everybody try. I'll do it, then Sam do it, then DLAKE do it. To do a Walking Dead impression, you yell out a name in a southern accent. Merle, I need you over here. All right, now you guys try.
Let me get I had the camera off. Jade, I don't normally watch, but I hope I did well.
Yeah, all right.
Shane! Bow and arrow, Shane!
Yeah, there you go. We're ready for the zombie apocalypse. Done.
I've only watched one episode, but I guess I did pretty good. All right. Thank you. There you go. Yeah, I know Anthony Court's been encouraging me to watch that. Just one last final point that I had to make about this Ebola War section of today's show is my long view of the current crisis is that it has to deal with Obamacare and perpetuating a Obamacare is our savior and a federal medical tyranny. And I didn't really get into banning all flights, hashtag Ebola, but we'll say.
Oh, may I, before we jump off on that?
Yeah.
I have heard over and over again another two extremes that's making me crazy. First of all, people saying that we can't close the flights off to Africa because it'll kill the economy in that sector. Yes, it will. And you know what normally happens? Even on very, very bad epidemics, at some point they end. And guess what? There's going to be a boom in that sector because now people can go back there. There's going to be a boom in there's going to be a boom in rebuilding. They're saying it'll kill it'll hurt the economy, the whole flying sector, the planes. It'll create panic. You know what? As soon as the scare is over, all of that's going to pick up again. We are not going to forget how to fly to Africa. We're not going to forget where the continent is. The other thing I'm sick of hearing is this. Well, so you're in favor of just letting everybody die. I have said 100 times that there are times when I depart from a libertarian philosophy, and this is one of them. I don't care if you are willing to go there. I don't have a problem with setting up medical units there. If it is a MASH unit that we are using in the military, if they go, I don't have a problem with that. Some people do, and I understand your argument, and I respect it. I don't have a problem with it. We are in a position to help somebody. It's almost like finding a poor man on the street. You're going to do your best to help him. I don't have a problem with volunteers going over there if they know what the hell they're doing. Kyle, do you? Great. Neither do I. We do not have any damn business in West Africa. So I don't, these people that say, well, you shut down the flights, what are doctors going to do? Only a bonehead would take it to that extreme. It's just you need to keep people out of there that have no damn business being there, and that would include me.
I'm honestly not buying this whole it's going to hurt their economy. I mean, it might hurt their economy a little bit, but do you know what West Africa's...
They're saying our economy. They're saying our economy.
Oh, okay, okay.
The phobia it's going to create in flying. You know what?
I don't think so.
As soon as this outbreak is over, people are going to fly again.
Well...
You know what the two biggest exports from West Africa are? Flies that are attracted to your face and Ebola.
Kyle, don't you think there's a difference between commercial flights and charter flights? They're acting like banning commercial flights of rich Nigerians trying to flee the country, being the same as sending in aid. I mean, if the Army's coming there to deliver aid, they're on C-130s. They're not on South fucking West.
Yeah, definitely. It's a totally different thing. But I mean, honestly, I'm of the mindset, like, if you want to go there, fucking go there. But I think we should block up the country. Nobody from Africa. I'm sorry. If you want to come here, let's set up those medical boats off the coast, far away, like we're supposed to fucking do, and we should have been doing from the beginning, and let them go there if they're American citizens. Aside from that, I'm sorry. Isolate. I mean, I'm not really worried about it, but why open ourselves up to risk?
Kyle.
It's like Michael Savage said. That is the way that they have stopped epidemics in all of recorded history.
Don't you ever quote Michael Savage on this show, Sam.
Yeah, Sam. Michael Savage is really great and all, but what I was about to say is that 2 to 3 weeks before Thomas Eric Duncan was even in country, fleeing from Liberia, back when we interviewed DeConte Sawyer, which we talked about earlier in the show, Kyle was saying, Kyle Phillips of TheMediaSpeaks was saying, and Sam was involved in the discussion, along with myself, weeks before the outbreak started happening here in America in the media, and that's what I was trying to point out today is the media coverage of all this. Kyle was saying, what about those Navy ships? Well, aren't these people supposed to be out on ships out in the middle of the ocean? Even DeConte Sawyer's like, I don't know, man. We have the best medical system in the world, supposedly in America. So either out on ships or on the land, care with compassion. I agree with all that, but it's like we have like 19 beds that are level 4 facility, and we're sending now the National Guard as well over there.
Don't just gloss over that, DLAKE. Explain what that 19 beds means for people that don't follow this like we do, because we can't just gloss over that. That's important. I know what you're referring to.
Well, I mean, those 19 beds are level 4 containment, which is like the greatest containment of all, with the the plastic wrap.
That's it. That's all we have.
All the specialized containment factors. I mean, that's
19. That's 16 more than we need. Like, let's use them
right now, and God willing, it'll stay that way.
Yeah,
hopefully.
But Eric Duncan should have been in a level 4, not in a level fucking 2 Dallas hospital, and not sending 2 cleaning guys in t-shirts and their fucking shorts,
Yeah, why were they in civilian hospitals? That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Why
were the first patients brought into Atlanta, Georgia, where the fucking mayor there went to Bilderberg, and that's where the CDC is headquartered, and like, and then I
it's way too complicated for me.
CNN reports of black kids in Africa just falling down after looking over at the cameraman and shit like that.
I don't get that. Like, if you're sick,
diarrhea blood sprays on the inside paneling of that ambulance.
And that, like, is there like a shortage of beds in Africa? Because like I feel like if you get the flu really bad, you go roll around in the lawn. Like, no, go inside. Did you guys' shit all just tweak out?
There we go. I'm back. Yep, mine went bye-bye, but it put me back in.
We were being dicks. We were being too big of dicks about Africa, and so like Google's like, no. Gotta put it back.
I mean, again, I definitely, I would like to. Yeah, I got you now, DLAKE. I would like people to take at least 2 things away from at least what my opinion on this is. One of them is, again, aid work. Wonderful. I don't mind the aid work, but all other people need to get the hell out of there. The other thing I'd like people to keep in mind is, again, I'm for the 3rd time out and about all over the place, going to haunted houses, riding coasters. It could get very bad. If this blows over, and I'm pretty sure I speak for Kyle and DLAKE when I say this, people are going to say, oh, the media went overboard, the media. We gave you all of the news as it came in. At no point has anybody on this panel ever once said that we think it's going to get that bad. We are saying it could be that bad, and through all of it, rather than fear-mongering, I hope people remember, if it does blow over, as we're hoping it's going to, that if it hadn't, that the Media Speaks has been on it with DeConte Sawyer since way before most other people in the media, because had it been bad, we'd have been there.
Exactly. Hey guys, I was thinking about keeping it, rather loose today. I think we've done a great job for almost 40 minutes going off on Ebola there, off on. Down is up is down. Black is white, white is black. 2 + 2 = 5. Kyle, you had something that you wanted to get into today, isn't that right?
Yeah. Well, this organization, what were they called? I know that you had it on the chat.
The Freedom Socialist Party.
Yeah, the Freedom Socialist Party, who apparently has been ranting and raving about how we need to up the minimum wage all the way up to $20 an hour. Of course, you probably haven't heard of this because I don't think too many people take them seriously. But they had a job opening, and they posted ads like to find somebody to fill this job. And can I get a drum roll for how much they were going to pay per hour for this job? There you go.
I was on mute.
$13 an hour. So they push so hard for
$20 an hour.
Yeah, $20 an hour is what they think minimum wage should be. So they're paying $7 less an hour than what they think minimum wage should be. Now, there's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle. We were having sound effect problems. Say that all again. Socialist group pushes for $20 minimum wage. There's just one incredibly ironic problem. What is it, Kyle?
They're paying for employees of their organization $13 an hour. So there's no way that they can explain this. No matter how you try and like, oh well, if the minimum wage was $20 an hour, we would be able to pay it too. It's like exactly the point, because you would diminish the value of the dollar by doing so. So it's like there's nothing you can possibly say that will make it okay that you're going to pay $7 less, which is the equivalent of an entire current minimum wage less than what you want the minimum wage to be.
And again, as I mentioned earlier, and I will put the name out there, Travelodge, a very wide open place. How can you pay your employees more money? I can tell you how, by not letting the two people that are already in your hotel take their $40 to another hotel because you didn't book the room the night before when they asked. Because you left the money walk out the front door. Maybe if big corporations didn't do things like that, you don't find that at the Seacrest Motel where I'm normally at. You don't find that there because they're a mom and pop shop. These corporations they let money walk out the front door. That's why they can't pay more.
Well, Kyle, I mean, maybe the Freedom Socialist Party, and I'm going to get to some funny talk about them here in a second, but you know, maybe they think burger flippers at McDonald's should get $20, but yet a web content manager working for the Freedom Socialist Party, they advertise the compensation as $13 an hour, or, excuse me, negotiable depending on experience. So, I mean, I don't know how much experience the guy flipping burgers at Wendy's or Jack in the Box or wherever you go for.
But you get a college education, you become a web developer and stuff, and if you have good experience, you might get $14 an hour.
Yeah. The Freedom Socialist Party wants the minimum wage to be $20 an hour. However, they don't feel compelled to compensate their own workers with that kind of cash. Reason Magazine opined, adding that perhaps they're just trying to protect their employees from the temptations of capitalist greed. Oh my gosh. John Blackout on Twitter says, "Hey, Freedom Socialist Party, oxymoron much? Question mark." Can I get a laugh track? Amateur Hour, MT, organization lobbying for $15 an hour minimum wage, post job listing for $13 an hour. Is this a do as I say, not as I do situation, Sam? Wow. Wow, Sam. Even the Freedom Socialist Party enjoys having the ability to negotiate a wage with a potential employee. Samuel, what are your thoughts?
I think that this, if I had seen it, it would definitely be in the running for the Dunce Cap of the Month. Normally I find these dumdies. I am truly impressed by the dumdy that Kyle has found. I really am. This is one of the dumbest things on the web.
Have they? I haven't seen anything, but I'm curious. They have to make a response to this. They have to answer to this. There's a ton of articles about them. Like, what can they possibly say that isn't going to make them just completely retarded, which is what they are? Like, there's nothing you could possibly say to explain this, right?
Nothing's coming to mind at all. No, it's one of those things. It ranks right up there with
protecting your employees from the dangers of capitalism is the best I could think of. Is what that person said in that article.
It's their only hope.
That's the only way you could go.
That or they're going to say that does their money come from donations? They might say that because their money is donated to them, they are not a business per se. That could be a major spin. That's not a spin doctor, Kyle. That's a spin specialist you would need to get you out of that. But you could theoretically do it that way.
Yeah, I
want to coin the phrase today. I want to coin the phrase: when you get in so much trouble that a spin doctor cannot help you, you need a spin specialist.
Well, I mean, this is on the same level to me, but even more so is like people like Mark Levin, who, for those of you who don't know, is like a conservative radio talk show host. How Mark Levin, he'll sit there and tell you that, you know, conservatism is about individual liberty and freedom and being able to do whatever you want without the government becoming involved. But then he's like, don't you fucking gays try and get married now. You know, it's like, how do you not see the redundancy of like what you're saying?
Well,
You're
to
telling
some
people.
degree, but it depends. On that one, I don't care if the church wants to do it, but I think the church should have the right to say we absolutely will not do that. Other than that,
absolutely.
I don't care.
That's individual freedom right there. But to say, like, I want individual freedom and the government not to step in, but I want the government to step in on this one thing, like, no, it's all or nothing.
Well, yeah, again, one of the major problems is government should never have been involved in marriage to begin with. And I have had people give me the lecture that say, you know, why are you still married to your ex? We're actually going through a disillusionment. That's because the government got involved. If it would have been up to my ex and I, that we would have split. We're still friends. I talked to her. I texted her as recently as yesterday. We're still friends. We would have parted. You know, sorry it didn't. It would have been done. It would have been between us and God, as it's supposed to be. Instead, you've got trips to the. I made like 10 or 20 trips downtown dealing with this. And a lot of the problem that we're finding is that government involvement in everything, it destroys it. And government needs to completely leave the entire institution of marriage out of it. Gone
and
out
a lot
of it.
of other institutions as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're going to be going to the state courthouse for all that stuff. I don't know if you guys saw this in the news. Just this morning I noticed this, that did Paul accidentally slip up and say something in an interview basically saying that Rand Paul is going to be running for president in 2016? Did Ron Rand's dad let the cat out of the bag when he said that I think it's great he's doing it? Basically, Ron Paul said, I think it's great he's doing it, and so CNN is trying to say that that means that he's confirming that Rand is going to run for president. But Kyle, I played this video earlier, but what I wanted Kyle to notice was this ad, was the articles and this optical going on over here on the side. Am I on screen share?
No. I can see you're trying to be on screen share in your reflection.
Look at this, Kyle.
What do we got here? What is that? Jennifer Lawrence dips low. Victoria's Secret. Angels explain.
Yeah,
thighs.
But look at the shoulders and arms and the body.
They like added it. Oh, I see. Yeah. It's like they matched them up.
Doesn't it look like a weird midget thing or something? I don't know.
It's like a weird midget Jennifer Lawrence.
I mean, just I don't know.
It's so funny that's like that's like the only Ron Paul fail that you can ever think of is giving away his son's. That's hilarious.
This is on the Daily Caller. Remember, Kyle, last week, the Daily. You were gonna say the Daily Caller.
Yeah.
On the Google autofill. Look at this photo placement where Jennifer Lawrence. It looks like she has. I don't know. It's just really optically funny to me. But let me play this. Let me set up sound real quick to play this.
I wasn't fully prepared.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I'm gonna mute out. Let me know when you need me.
My internet's freezing, Kyle.
Maybe we should do some science front then.
Wait.
You got it?
I think so. Let me see.
Pizza maker.
DLAKE for PREZ. Pizza
maker.
I
fucking hate these commercials so much. Papa John, look at him. Tell me that dude hasn't had a ton of plastic surgery. Look at his ugly face.
It's not letting me skip.
I hate these commercials so much. Papa John, let somebody who knows how to do commercials do your fucking commercials.
Okay. Kyle, get us past this.
God, fucking Papa John's commercials. Frig off.
Okay, coming up.
Pizza's not even good.
Here we go.
A recent Wall Street Journal NBC News poll, 72% of Americans believe that we'll wind up sending ground troops. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm afraid that's the case. Right now, the war propagandists are winning. A year ago, the people were strongly on our side of
is this the same one?
Didn't want the president to go bomb. And, but if you look at the major network,
I wasn't prepared.
I sat through the commercial for something that isn't what I was talking about, but let's see.
Oh, Betty, that's just awful.
Kyle, why don't we just take
DLAKE. I'm kidding. Hey,
Sam, you love Ron Paul. Let's see what he's talking about. ISIS.
The government says if you look at two political parties, who's really resisting it? It has to do with the way they have played this recent violence of ISIS, and this is emotional, but you don't get a fair shake, from the media because the war propagandists are in charge. And believe me, there's a few people in the military-industrial complex that's not worrying all that much. They blow up all these missiles, and they just go back to rebuilding them again. And here we're
discussion
taking over the world with a group of people that doesn't have a Navy or an Air Force or intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they're marching through because they're fighting for their homeland, and they've been able to radicalize the people. And so I think that's a reflection of our failed policy.
Ron Paul, everybody.
All right, yeah. Well, thanks for letting me indulge in that, guys. Why don't we move on to Sam's Science News, Kyle? Do you have a soundtrack for that?
It's time to learn some science. So here's Sam with the science front.
Greetings, unsettled souls, and welcome to news from the Science Front. Mail Online, the death of the first star in the universe. Incredible image could shed new light on how solar systems were formed. At first glance, it looks uncanny, like an image of a human brain, and it really does. In fact, this is the death of one of the first stars in the universe. What I would like to interject personally, I think it's kind of interesting that the composition of things would resemble a brain, which would be the birth of the entire universe, would look so much like a human brain. There's been other references to embryos with other things in the sky because things form in certain ways. Researchers say the death throes of these early stars were unique as they exploded as supernovae and burned completely, leaving no black hole behind, but instead spewing out chemicals and elements into space that would eventually form the universe. Imagine if C. Canis Majoris was to do that for you Skywatchers. Certain primordial stars, those between 55,000 and 56,000 times the mass of the Sun, or solar masses, may have died unusually, the team concluded. Astrophysicists at the Uni of Cali, Santa Cruz, and the University of Minnesota came to this conclusion after running a number of supercomputer simulators of Energy's National Energy Research Scientific Computing Center. They relied extensively on Castro. It's a compressible astrophysics code developed by the Department of Energy. And basically what they found is that, I lost my screen, 5th-generation stars, which are very old, first-generation stars, are especially interesting because they produce the heavy elements or chemical elements other than hydrogen and helium. In death, they sent their cosmic creations into outer space, paving the way for subsequent generations of stars and solar systems and things that we have known to be today. It says the process releases more energy than binding energy to a star, halting the collapse and causing a massive explosion, a supernova. So if we can find out the way that these things work, every time we go in a direction that proves things of how things came to be, it leads to us being able to find out in which way things might be going. And then if we can find somewhere in this scale the evolution of this explosion, if you were, that is our universe, if we could find out where we were in that, it would be very helpful in terms of a lot of sciences pertaining to what minerals and what elements could be on other planets based on how they were dispersed, among other things. So that is news on that. You guys, any comments on that before I go to my second one? It's not as long.
No, that was awesome, Sam. I had some awesome supernova pictures going while you were talking about that. What's next, Sam? This
is from space.com. Saturn's Death Star moon Mimas is weird inside. This I was very excited about because they think this thing might be full of water. And if that was the case, then the sky's the limit to what kind of life you could find, especially if it's heated due to spinning. If there's any kind of heating in the core inside. We found bacteria life and fish life living in places that we thought were impossible on this planet. It used to be thought that certain regions in the north and south were too cold for fish, and of course we know today that's not the case. We found bacteria living in the nuclear water at Fukushima, which we never imagined was possible, that anything could live in it. There's bacteria in the water, and we can't study it, of course, because we can't get near the water. So if there's water on Mimas... What'd you say?
Is that it?
No.
Sam, you said Saturn Death Star moon. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Listen to this. There is something strange going on below the surface of Saturn's Death Star-looking moon Mimas, the new study suggests. Mimas' rotation and its orbit around Saturn make the moon look like it's rocking back and forth, oscillating similar to the way that a pendulum swings. The rocking motion is called libration and is commonly observed in moons that are influenced by the gravity of neighboring planets. However, using images of the moon captured by the Seethe spacecraft, Wadwin Tajuddin, T-A-G-D-D-I-N-E, is researching associate at the Cornell University, discovered that the satellite's libration was much more exaggerated in one spot than he expected. He expects it must be caused by the moon's weird interior, and that is what's really interesting, friends. Check this out. It says, we're excited about this measurement because it may indicate much about the satellite's insides, Tajuddin said in a statement. Nature is especially allowing us to do the same thing that a child does when he shakes a wrapped gift in hopes of figuring out what's inside. Astronomers have long been using the rotation and orbit, it says, of celestial bodies to guess what their interiors might be like. Most of the rocking is explained by the interacting forces of Mimas' rotation and orbit, but one libration was much larger than expected. The team tested 5 different models of what Mimas might look like below the surface to see which one could explain the exaggerated rocking. They quickly ruled out that it had a uniform interior, an interior with 2 different layers, or an abnormal mass under the moon's 88-mile-long crater that looks like the Death Star from Star Wars, which makes DLAKE thrilled. However, the last 2 models could explain...
Yeah, that's the best part.
One idea is that the moon is elongated, oval-shaped core. This elongation might have happened as the moon formed under the push and pull of Saturn's rings. The teeter-totting cloud also could form the subsurface, similar to what we've seen on Jupiter's moon Europa. It's still a possibility that they think the subsurface ocean is an extremely... they don't. Some people are saying it's likely, and other things I said. Tajuddin doesn't think that it is. It said the heat radiating from the core escapes through the moon's ice-covered shell and would cause any substance of the ocean to quickly freeze. That has not been what we have found on other moons, however. So there are other scientists that are saying that's hogwash. They tend to think that it is water, perhaps with layers of ice above it. It says Mimas is the smallest and closest of Saturn's main 8 moons. Its crater covers almost 1/3 of the moon's surface. So there's definitely something that has bashed into that, and is that could be another option too. If things hit it, God only knows if it had water on it. We can only hope. Yeah. But it says their researchers have sifted through dozens of images on it, and it's interesting. I think there's like 60 moons, I think, around.
I found an artist rendering of what they think is inside of that moon. I'm sharing it on my screen share right now. That's potentially what could be inside.
I see, yeah, and that if you have any pictures of green cheese, that also. But yes, Prez, that is your news from the science front. Hit share and let people know that we are doing it.
I think we definitely need to blow up that moon. I mean, there's really no doubt about it,
right? Kyle wants to blow up the moon.
Well, the best part is on my screen. Not only does it look like the Death Star, but apparently on Predator Vision infrared or something, or heat vision, it looks like Pac-Man.
It does look like Pac-Man. He's in a little dot even. I see it.
It's like Pac-Man.
It's the Pac-Man moon. Pac-Manus.
Icon moon.
All right, guys.
The other thing I've noticed is the stormtroopers on Mimas must be the same people that designed the hazmat uniforms here. They just can't seem to make anything clear on the sides.
Fantastic. Are we ready for some entertainment, DLAKE?
Super fantastic.
I got sad entertainment news, so I want to go last.
Here, I can go first. You brought up earlier Michael Savage, who I've been a little bit suspicious that him and Alex Jones are getting too friendly with each other, considering that Michael Savage is essentially like a Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, like conservative talk show host, right? So I read his book.
No. See, no. Savage is himself a conservative-minded Republican. However, no, he would not want Republican. A conservative-minded constitutionalist.
No, he considers himself a Republican. He even said in his book that people need to vote Republican.
But I think he also...
No, I heard him on the interview. He sounds kind of Democratic to me sometimes.
I actually I could see him being more friendly towards libertarians than libertarian himself. But no, I am on record as a Savage fan. He's way too socially conservative for me, and there's things we disagree on in terms of perhaps marijuana or something, or drug legalization, but by and large, I like Savage.
But that's the point right there. You can't be somebody who's in favor of individual freedom and then say that you're against people being able to smoke weed. And by saying you're against people being able to smoke weed, you're essentially saying...
Well, I don't agree with him, but he's...
If you smoke weed, I want you put in jail. That's what you're saying.
I don't agree with it, but people of that mindset don't believe that doesn't apply because we are a danger to them.
Yes, and they believe they should legislate morality. And I read his book, and he's a Democratic Republican. He's a conservative Republican.
Yeah, no. How about this? Obviously, Kyle, you said you read the book. I know that means you probably listened to it on audio, but
yeah.
But can you give us? Instead of getting into a debate with Sam or myself about who exactly you think that so-and-so is or this and that, can you just get to the points that you agreed with and how they influence you, or,
I agreed with the fact that he pointed out that there are powers that be within our established government who are very much intentionally polarizing the country. They're making it us versus them on two different sides, and they are gearing us up for a civil war. And if you look historically at the polarization of the country before the first civil war, that we are at a very similar state right now, and that we need to take action to make sure that we get this country back so that doesn't happen, because that's the last thing anybody wants. But at the same time, we can't let people like the Obama administration turn us into a complete social fascist state where everybody's being spied on 24/7. I agreed with him a lot in the book. I did, but you can tell while reading it, this guy is not a libertarian. This guy is not necessarily... He's freedom-minded as much as somebody like Mark Levin is. And I've read Mark Levin's book, too. I read Ameritopia, and I read Liberty and Tyranny. And the books are very, very similar. I would put those guys in the exact same category right next to each other. And I don't dislike Michael Savage. I think that he's better... Like I'm gonna like him more than somebody like Rachel Maddow. I'm gonna like him more than somebody like Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity. He's above them. He's not Rush Limbaugh and he's not Sean Hannity, but he's spot on fucking Mark Levin. He really is, and he's an intelligent guy. I agree with a lot of the stuff that he said, but it's the same as the Mark Levin problem. That's I believe in individual freedom, except for shit that I disagree with, and you can't do that. You can't say individual liberty, except when I don't want to give you individual liberty, because then you're not the only one who gets to make that call. And what about people who disagree with shit that you want individual liberty on? It's all or nothing. And that's why these conservative Republican dudes, like, they're Tea Party types. And I don't dislike Michael Savage, but...
If I may interject, Kyle, though, you have to remember... and again, I'm with your side on the weed thing, but let's just pretend I'm not. If I was what I believe Savage, and I haven't read his book, but I listened to him when I was driving a cab for like a decade. I don't want to word this. let's say Savage would believe that smoking weed would lead to harm to his neighbor by impairment of driving, or by or the long time slowing of the brain. He believes it slows you down. Again, I'm not saying that for listeners I believe it. That's what he's saying. Kind of the same way I'm a personal liberty person that doesn't believe that states have the right to open up nuclear power plants because of the negative effect it has on its neighbors. They would classify that as the same thing. They don't see that as a
you have long hair, which not only impedes your ability to find a job, but it brings down the home values in the neighborhood you live. So I think it should be illegal for you to have long hair, and you should be forced to cut.
And I think, unfortunately...
It's all or nothing, despite your belief. I don't care. I think heroin should be legal, not because I think heroin is good, but I don't think that the government has any place in telling you how to run your life, and Michael Savage does. And that's a big difference in ideology. And so for that, I can't support him. Like, I don't dislike him. I've listened to his show before. I enjoyed the book, but he is not a libertarian, and he does not believe in individual freedom. He believes in individual freedom, except for shit that he doesn't like, and in those cases, he wants you put in jail. He wants the government to fucking spank you. And I will not agree with him. Like, you see my point. Like, that's a big thing. That's a big thing that separates you from libertarianism, is that you want the government to spank people for things you disagree with. Whether those things are good or bad is irrelevant.
I definitely think. I think he's more tolerant of libertarians, like I said, than one himself.
He is, but tolerant isn't good enough. And the fact that Alex Jones is aligning with this dude and getting all buddy-buddy makes me very uncomfortable, because Alex Jones claims to be a libertarian. That makes me uncomfortable. I'm being honest. And I'm not saying that anybody can't have a different belief than me, or that I'm not going to get angry at somebody for having a different belief, but I mean, it is what it is.
I don't mind it because they talk about their differences. And it was Savage that led me to Alex Jones. It was when I went from really liking Savage, which I still do, to really relating to Alex Jones. Would be a good way
I'll
to
still
put it.
listen to him, and I'll still listen to Mark Levin, because I agree with them 70% of the time, but they're not aligned with us. I mean, they're aligned with us on a few things, but on the core of everything that is libertarianism, they're not. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, in entertainment, that's a point that's a point that you make, that like maybe let's say we're not aligned with Alex Jones or Michael Savage on a certain issue, but I mean, it's like Chris Brown this week said like, Ebola is population control, and it's probably geared towards certain racial thing, and it's like, Chris Brown?
Who?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, who, what? It's like, sometimes you wake up from a dream at night and you wish you had the capacity to, like, put out something on Twitter that gets picked up by the mass mainstream. Some stupid bitch, a CBS producer and booker of people on the show, she put out a tweet this week that's like, oh, Rand Paul thinks he's a doctor talking about Ebola.
I saw that. It's like, he is a doctor.
Yeah, then there was an immediate twitchy response. Everyone's like, he's been a doctor for 20 years. He is a fucking doctor, you dumb bitch. And then she's like, she deleted it and issued like a I'm sorry, retraction apology that was like, oh yeah, I should have done my homework. Yeah, you should have.
Which Michael Savage is a doctor too. So like those two people, when it comes to Ebola, I'm fucking listening.
That's who I wish would have been selected as the Ebola czar, or at least offered, because he's an epidemiologist.
It was last week that Savage was on Alex Jones, and I thought it was a pretty solid interview.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I had something that I wanted to get into today in entertainment.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Google reverse image search.
What's that?
So my friend.
Is this the same show? Shout out, Court.
So my friend thought that he was getting catfished on a dating website.
Yeah.
And he said she sent me these 4 pictures.
Oh, like you put it in Google and it tells you if it exists anywhere else on the internet?
Right. So
Brilliant.
Google, if you go to images.google.com, they have a reverse image search engine where you can upload a video or paste the link or whatever. He got these images in emails, so I was like, let's look it up. Okay, he's like, yeah, like I'm sort of like trying to talk to this chick on email. He's on a paid dating website, but apparently there was a free week where people could get on for free, and he started talking to this chick, and she's got like 4 pictures that are pretty attractive, and it all looks like the same girl pretty much. I did a reverse image search. 2 of the pictures came up with hits. One was on catchforcatch.com, a 100% free dating service. Another was on fishforfish.com, so you can already see cat and fish in the titles of the websites that she's on. He's like, I'm trying to talk to her. I did the reverse image search. It says she's from somewhere else other than what she told him originally. He's totally tripping out. He comes in the next day. He's like, I told that bitch to fuck off. He's like,
what is catfish?
Catfish is when like a dude makes a fake account and like they'll like make you think that it's a girl and like talk to you and make you fall in love with them, but in reality it's like some dude eating Hot Pockets in his mom's basement.
Oh, all right. I was going to say because I couldn't figure out why it was weird that this girl would be on other dating sites, but I got you now. I was going to say, yeah, she might be on more than one dating site, but no, I am now caught up to speed.
Okay, so up to speed, Sam. She's on all the free dating sites. My friend started talking to her. He got a couple pictures. I said, let me see the pictures. We did a little bit of Google reverse image search lookup. Found her on these other sites because it tells you where on the internet the same pictures are. Like I saw it, like I came up with the idea because on a Discuss, a blog, some guy's like, oh, I'm a firefighter and a model. Some chick did a reverse image search lookup. I'm just going by the comments here. And she's like, this is a stock photo. You're a fucking liar. So, I mean, trolls get exposed by reverse image search. I made a sticker this week even better by reverse image searching. So I find it very entertaining. Then my friend, the guy that I was talking about, he got an email from the chick, and he said it was like she was sending him emails like she wasn't even reading what he was saying. And it said, oh, yeah, I'm a model. I'm stuck in London, and there's a problem at the airport, and I need $750 to clear it up, and I'll pay you back as soon as I get to the States. So that's just like, I mean, that's just like, are you retarded? Do you fall for scams? Or do you do reverse image searches? I mean, come on, you guys. Give it up for DLAKE for PREZ!
That is really sweet. That is really. I wonder if you can change the URL of the picture if it messes up the search.
It looks like the one thing that you could do is if you change the aspect ratio, I believe that you can get around it. I'm playing around with it right now.
It'll bring up similar images too that look like they're based on the color and the sort of composition of the photo.
It's not super accurate.
Yeah, so, you have to be a Photoshop savvy troll to beat this.
No, but it will show you. It will show you if a certain picture where it exists on the internet. So things like during the Sandy Hook massacre, all those children were killed. There was a lady like in Florida who said, "Why is there a picture of my kid as one of the victims that died at Sandy Hook when I live in Florida and this is my kid who's alive?" There was fake pictures used. There's people that go on Instagram and post pictures of other people's babies and make accounts saying that it's their babies.
Oh, I do that. I have a fake Twitter account. I have a fake Twitter account under the name Cara Buda. It's a Hispanic woman. Check this out.
You're a Hispanic?
This is when you... Yeah, I'll explain in a second. That's when you put DLAKE into it. It brings up a few episodes of our show. It brings up stuff from TheMediaSpeaks, and then all these people. But yeah, I have a fake... Here, I'll pull it up while I'm on screen share. I have a fake Twitter.
Oh, yeah. But see how it's the same sort of color green, same sort of like position of the face and all that?
Here's my here's my account.
Shut up. Those are just visually similar. Okay, I'm posting your page, Kyle. Show us what you got.
This is my fake Twitter account. Let me go to just like my page. Cara Bruta, Cara Sudar Bruta, which is literally I typed in ugly gross face on Google Translate, and that's what it came up with. It started out like one of the podcasts that I listened to, they had a contest, Eat with Ernie, where their sound producer, who's a Mexican dude, they were trying to get him a date, and so I made like the perfect account of like the perfect woman for him, and then I just like kept fucking with the people from this podcast using this account, and so I just like continued to use it. Where like it started out with like a totally like, here, go to the first picture.
You're being serious right now?
Yeah, like it started out as just like a generic picture of like a Mexican woman that I got by typing in Lupe on Facebook and taking like the first picture that I found. But I've changed the picture since then. Like if you look like at the main picture, it's her photoshopped onto a comedian. Like it's obviously fake. And I've like said things on there like, I'm a strong Hispanic woman in a sarcastic way.
That's the picture I was looking at, like, whoa, what is that, stone-face comedian or something weird?
No, yeah, it was just like the picture of the image that I stole by typing in Lupe, and then I just put a funny comedian body on it. But I just use that to fuck with people on podcasts. So it's really easy.
Well, that's what's great about entertainment section, and Kyle, you're so creative, man, I love you. Sam, what did you have today in entertainment? You said you wanted to go last, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, this sucks, my friends. Yeah, he's a little bit of a leftist, so we don't agree politically, but it sucks. Anyway, BBC, Morrissey reveals cancer procedure. Singer of the Smiths, one of the most instantly noticeable voices that you'll ever hear. Singer Morrissey has revealed that he has had 4 medical procedures that he has described as cancer scrapings. The ex-Smith star has recently battled bouts of ill health, but revealed the cancer news during an email interview with Spanish newspaper El Mundo. I have had 4 cancer scrapings, but so what? If I die, I die, he wrote. If I don't, then I don't. As I sit here today, I feel very well. The singer started his European tour in Lisbon, Portugal on Monday. In the Javier Blanquez, he wrote, I know I look quite bad on recent photographs, but I'm afraid this is what illness does to the overall countenance. I will save relaxation for when I'm dead. And again, for those of you that don't know the Smiths, he always looked immaculate. Morrissey's representatives were not available for comment. One of the few possible asexuals in all of music world. Health problems. An announcement comes after the star canceled part of his U.S. tour when he was treated as asexual. No sex drive at all. He was reportedly asexual for a while.
Dude, he looks like he'd be banging like crazy chicks.
He was treated in the hospital for a respiratory infection in June. He's also had pneumonia, an ulcer, and a throat condition called Barrett's esophagus and anemia. The 55-year-old singer published his autobiography last year, so he's really not that old to be going through all of this. I don't know enough about the Smiths to know what his past was in other ways in terms of health. But yeah, that's very, very bad news. The singer of the Smiths, very, very sick. Not good.
Well, that sucks. I hope he gets better. I've never been like a huge Smiths fan or anything, but hate to hear anybody. So he's got throat cancer, it sounds like?
Perhaps. It didn't say. I hope not. That'd be an even more nightmare. But I guess it could be.
That's rough.
Yep. And again, if people look him up politically, he's a crazy person. But he's still an excellent.
Speaking of people that you're a fan of their work, but you couldn't even speak 2 sentences to them politically. I am going to go. I was going to do it last weekend, but we're going to go after this show and see that Ben Affleck movie finally.
Gone Girl.
Yeah, Gone Girl. We're gonna see it, and he's another person who, like, you listen to him politically, and it's like, oh fuck, stop talking, Ben Affleck. Just make movies.
Wasn't he having a disagreement with Jay Moore, or not Jay Moore? I watched the Jay Moore comedy last night.
No way, you did?
Bill Moore.
So
yeah,
I watched it too.
Oh, you watched Jay Moore last night?
Yeah, I watched it last night. What? That's awesome.
Was he the one that was on Air America? Because if he is, I was listening to him once when I was driving.
Real quick, Sam. We were talking before about Bill Maher, is who I meant to say.
Bill Maher, yeah.
But that's what Kyle was talking about. But Kyle and I apparently both watched Jay Moore's new stand-up comedy special on Netflix last night. That's where I watched it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. pretty funny. I liked it. I thought
it was pretty good. Did you watch Chelsea Handler's new comedy?
Everybody's son is a quarter gay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched the Uganda Chelsea Handler special.
A lot of Chelsea Handler nudity.
Started funny. Some of the photos that she showed on the screen, the jokes went pretty well, but got kind of weak in the middle and lagged near the end.
She's no Brian Callen, but I mean, it was all right.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody's as good as Brian Callen. That guy.
Brian Callen?
Brian Callen. Look him up. Man Class or Man Lessons or whatever. I think it's called Man Class. That's what it is.
I'll have to look that guy up. All right, well, Sam, yeah, it's real sad to hear about Morrissey. Everyone check out Google image search. Kyle's beginning entertainment news was really exciting there, too.
I think we're done here.
Our work is done here.
I think it's been a great show. I think our work here is done. Whoa! Kyle, anything else? You said you're going to go see Gone Girl today with Ben Affleck. And how do you feel about Wonder Woman reportedly being the daughter of Zeus? That's going to be the Wonder Woman storyline as opposed to older, different storylines. I don't know.
That's stupid.
I don't know. I mean, it would. I like Xanadu, so I mean, you never know.
What are they gonna do next? Turn Batman and Robin into a woman? Oh wait, they're doing that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when you see the leggings, to be fair, if you're gonna go into battle with leggings. You notice did they ever in any episode give Robin any kind of guard whatsoever? You got Batman, he's in like body armor, and you've got the tight Wonder over here. I have never understood Robin's point in Batman.
Well, if that's what you want, Sam, then you use fucking Batgirl, okay? You don't change Robin.
Even Batgirl got armor. Why does Robin always go into battle dressed with a flower? I don't understand.
He was raised in a circus. Come on.
Oh my God, they might have it.
Everybody knows this stuff, Sam, except you. No, Sam, Sam.
Yes. It can be found at youtube.com/thecorrectviews, facebook.com/correctviews. I want to give a great big one-finger salute to the Travelodge, who in Cincinnati gave us horrible service, and even though they're not paying me, I want to give a thumbs up to the Red Roof Inn, who thus far has given us a wonderful service. If you're coming to the haunted events in Kings Island, for those of you that watch my show, I do my little tour updates, Red Roof Inn is recommended. Travelodge is not.
You should. Speaking of comic book superheroes, you should Spider-Man that room because of their shitty service.
No, I'm actually at the Red Roof now. I just left.
Oh, you are? Oh, man, you should have. Do you know what Spider-Manning is?
Is it just putting up fake web everywhere?
No, it's where you jerk off in your hand and just kind of fucking fling it all over the walls.
Oh,
I might have laugh tracked over that, yeah.
That's pleasantries. That's wonderful. Guys, see you Halloween night at George's in downtown Canton, Passing Times play.
Kyle, can you explain again for listeners exactly what Spider-Manning is in slow motion, and then could you tell people where they can find your brilliant comedy?
Spider-Manning is it's actually something that Brian Redband came up with. What you do is you jerk off into your hand, and then you just kind of like whip it across the room in a hotel room. It's called Spider-Manning because it's like you're shooting your web everywhere. That's what you should
I gave you backing music because you always give me backing music.
That's the way to do it. All right, DLAKE, why don't you?
Nothing better than Spider-Manning a hotel room.
Nothing. You wanna tell people where they can find us? You can speak for me, and then we can get out of here and go into the night and watch Ben Affleck movies.
Say Ebola one more time! Hey everybody, I'm DLAKE for PREZ. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Media Speaks live Saturday morning news show. Thank you so much for for Kyle being here and Sam being here and myself, and we're just gonna keep it going every Saturday and keep pumping it up. You can find us at TheMediaSpeaks.com. TheMediaSpeaks, DOTCOM, spelled out on YouTube. If you go to Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever your fancy search engine is, Linux, PC, Mac, I'm pretty sure it all works. If you type in TheMediaSpeaks.com, you're going to find us. And if you don't, you might have a mental handicap that needs to be treated immediately. If you start showing any signs of Ebola, if it's showing up in Chula Vista or Canton, Ohio, and then people start telling you that they have Ebola, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Get some fucking hazmat or something. I might just get some for Halloween and dress up as a hazmat guy for Halloween. Everything going on in the news, it's going to be a really spooky, scary Halloween this year. Don't you guys think so?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, everyone look forward to our super special, scary Halloween show coming up soon. You got to talk about that, guys.
Yeah, we do have to.
All right, everyone, have a great afternoon, great night, and peace out.